All right, hello everyone. Welcome to day 2 of Winter Workshop 2022. For today, we're on January 4th, so we're going to go over pen testing methodology with me, OSINT with Yao, and then we're going to take a lunch break. After that, we will go into web vulnerabilities with Metasploit, and that'll be presented by Danny. This is definitely more of a hands-on day today, except for, of course, pen testing methodology.
All right.
OSINT will be very good. Yeah.
I might be going after you because I have a COVID test.
Oh, right. Yeah. Pen testing, then Metasploit with Danny, lunch, and then OSINT. That sound right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So without further ado, go ahead and jump into it. This presentation was provided to us by Ashley King. She is our research and development lead on the OSS board. So she created this presentation back in fall. It's the same one that we're presenting today. And it's a very overall good presentation. Some of the information, some of the resources in it we may have already mentioned, but nonetheless, it's all very good information to have. All right. So for the agenda on this presentation, we're going to introduce pen testing engagements, and then we're going to take you through the different phases that are involved with a penetration test. So phase 1, that would be planning, phase 2, discovery, then exploitation, reporting, and after that point, the pen test is done. Let me also provide some resources, and then we'll take some questions at the end. Okay, pen testing engagements. In a traditional pen test, there's a certain sort of like methodology that you follow when you're conducting a penetration test. And that usually follows something similar to what this image shows right here, where you have these, you start at that pre-engagement interactions and you move through reconnaissance OSINT, and then threat modeling / vulnerability detection and identification, and exploiting those vulnerabilities, post-exploitation, and then finally at the end of the engagement, reporting what it is you have found. And this is a whole cyclical process because as we all know, as computer science majors, or even if you're not a computer science major, technology keeps being developed, new software is developed, and thus new vulnerabilities are out there. Nothing is static in what we do. And because of that, constant penetration testing on any sort of system, network, whatever, needs to be done. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind and you'll have outdated software. Oh, hang on. Hey.
Mom.
Hey.
Where's my
Go
mom?
Go. Bye. All right. Sorry about that. That was my little brother. Okay. Anyways, going into these in depth, that's what we're going to go into next. So phase 1 is the planning phase. This encompasses planning the scope and what exactly you're going to be doing for the penetration test. This is the part where any legal compliances, any legal bindings need to be established. You need to know what sort of network you're going to be going into, where you're allowed to go, whether or not what type of pen test this is, whether or not it's a white box, a black box, or a gray box. Now, I know some of you may not know what those mean, but essentially white box means you have full access to like a piece of software and you can see its source code. You can see everything about it. And you can go in and test it that way. Black box means you don't know anything. You're just given a piece of software or a system, not knowing anything about it. You can't see the source code, nothing about it. And your job is again to test it, whether it be pen testing or just like application testing. It just depends on what exactly you're going to be doing. And then gray box is of course the in between of those two extremes, where you could have some information about the software or system that you are pen testing, but you won't have the full picture. And then during the planning phase, there also needs to be a set timeline. Pen tests do not last like a year or whatever. They last a certain amount of time. So for example, it could take anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks. It just depends on how many systems, how many networks are being tested, and what the company that you are pen testing wants. And like I said earlier, legal implications, what you can and cannot do, and that's essentially the scope. The scope, whenever you hear scope, it's again what you are allowed to pen test, what you're allowed to touch. If you go outside of that scope, bad things happen. You don't want to do that. Like in our competition, CPTC, there is a huge thing about scope. They give us a network and say, this is the only network that you can pen test. There are bound to be more. There are for sure other networks, but we are only allowed to pen test a certain section of it. And then let's say you're pen testing that network and you find something, a vulnerability that leads to another network. Well, you can't just go off and say, oh, it's within my scope. No, it's in a different network. And you have to go ask the company for permission to continue on from there. So planning can change. It is somewhat fluid, but overall it's just a way to communicate what is and is not allowed. It's setting the rules. The next step in a general pen testing methodology is the discovery phase. This is where all the really cool stuff starts to happen. Planning is really like the boring bureaucratic kind of stuff that goes on, but it's still nonetheless essential. But discovery, that's where we get to use things like Nmap. So the goal of the discovery phase is to gather information, as much information as you can, on potential vulnerabilities that are within the defined scope. So for example, let's say you do an Nmap scan and you find a vulnerable application. Well, you note that down. You discovered that and you note it down. You don't necessarily exploit it immediately because you want to take an inventory on what systems there are and what software is running on them. All right, and then we also have external and insider threats. Who does not know what an insider threat is? I see one no, and I'll explain it. Okay. So an insider threat is, think about it as like a disgruntled employee. Let's say an employee is fed up with their company and they decide to stick it up to the company by like opening a back door, like opening something that's not supposed to be there, or taking information and putting it out to the public. That's an insider threat. It's someone with access to a company's systems, networks, whatever, and exposing it to some sort of vulnerability. That's what an insider threat is. So again, it's someone who has the authentication to do it, authorization to do what they're supposed to do, but then they use it maliciously. And an external threat is pretty straightforward. It's just someone who's trying to break in from the outside, who's not already part of the company. All right, moving on. In the discovery phase, it is probably the most essential step, I would say, because if you can't discover anything, what are you pen testing, right? So you need to take the time to actually discover what is on the network. With Nmap, Nmap only scans the first 1,000 ports by default. It doesn't scan port like 55,535, whatever there is, whatever MongoDB runs on. I doubt that's actually it, but some high ports, it ignores those because those are not the most common. And you would have to do like a full port scan. So it's just trying to find as much as you can about the systems without breaking into them. And of course, in the discovery phase, the activities involved in here are reconnaissance, threat modeling, and then a vulnerability identification. So reconnaissance, like I said, Nmap, but then there's also a different kind of reconnaissance called OSINT, which is open source intelligence. You can think about that like doxing. and for legal doxing, because OSINT is finding information online about a company that's already out there. It's public domain information. And this could be anything from what the company does, what its mission statement is, to finding out what employees work at that company, and then following them around, seeing what they like, and then from what they like, making, like, guessing their passwords. Someone in, like, one of the organizers in CBTC told us they were in an area that was super big on football. There was a whole football team there, and they made a password list with different iterations of that football team's name. And they ended up getting into several user accounts because they brute forced with those passwords, and people just use football or whatever as their password. So it's a bit of intuition, a bit of guessing in that regard, but overall they still discovered those users by going on stuff like social media or Google search. On it, we mentioned Shodan here. Shodan is it's a website where you can view cameras that are insecure, and there's some weird ones. All right, threat modeling, Stride. I'm not too familiar with Stride, so I really can't speak on that. But when you threat model, that's like, again, like creating almost like a graph of what exists on the system or the network. Vulnerability identification, OWASP top 10. OWASP top 10 is the 10 most common web vulnerabilities out there. You will see OWASP top 10 everywhere, guaranteed. There's a reason why this exists, and this OWASP top 10 is definitely something everyone should know, especially if they want to put that on their resume. If you know OWASP top 10 and you're trying to get a pen testing job or internship, you'll be set pretty much. No OWASP top 10. And some examples of this are like code injection, let's say SQL, or cross-site scripting. I'm not going to go into too much detail on those, but those are just some or two of the OAuth top 10s. And you can research that on your own time if you want. One of the things also you should know when doing a pen test is you basically need to know both Windows and Linux. I specialize mostly in Windows, but I still know Linux. You need to know both and how to get through both. Right now, because of us as students, we don't necessarily have like a full-time job to do that. So we do specialize. I'm on Windows, Yao is on Linux and databases, Danny is on Linux and web vulnerabilities, and then like Chris is also on Windows with me. So we all specialize, but eventually you do get used to manipulating both. Okay, I know that was a little long, sorry about that, but in phase 3 is our exploitation phase. That's where we get to actually break into the system. And the goal is to exploit all the findings that we discovered in the discovery phase. It's trying to get a shell or remote code execution into a system. And when we get into a system, from there, we note down, okay, what is the vulnerability? What is the exploitation? How does it work? And how does this affect the business? If you get remote code execution or arbitrary code execution on a system, that's huge for a company, because that means anyone could just execute code on a system and do whatever they want. It's not good, and it's something that needs to be fixed immediately. All right, some of the activities we do in here are, of course, more reconnaissance. What I mean by that is, let's say you do get execution on a system. Reconnaissance does not end. It never ends. You're constantly shifting back and forth between these different phases. So if you break into a system, you now have a new environment to discover. There could be hidden things. There could be internal ports. There could be like a password sitting somewhere where it isn't supposed to be. There could be insecure file permissions. There could be another system you could like pivot over to, but that's post-exploitation. I'll get into that soon. But for exploitation, it's running a script. It's using something like Burp Suite, Metasploit, Python script, whatever, just to get into a system. That's all it is, and then doing a little more reconnaissance on the new environment that you have entered into. One thing to note about exploitation, at the end of a pen test, you need to clean up. Well, what do we mean by that is sometimes an exploitation requires you to create a file on a system, on a system that you are attacking. You are supposed to clean those up. If you don't clean them up, then it looks bad on you and you're leaving a vulnerability there. That's just, it's not good for anyone. It's not good for the company, and it doesn't look good on you. All right, lastly, I guess we don't have a post-exploitation phase. Okay, stepping back, post-exploitation, what does that mean? Post-exploitation refers to first getting into a system and then doing like more exploitations based off of there. What I mean is you get remote code, let's just say you do nmap, you get into a system, okay? And let's say there's another system over here, like just somewhere else. And then what you do is you pivot over to them. You get into another system by already exploiting a system. That's like the broad view of it. But it's also, again, more reconnaissance. It's just trying to expand where a vulnerability can lead to. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Awesome. And then last phase is, of course, reporting. In reporting, this is where we present all the findings, everything that we discovered in a formal report. This report is primarily business oriented. However, there are still technical aspects to it. So in CPTC, we have to do this. We have to write a report, and we have to write it in like 6 hours. And it's usually like a 50-page report. It's insane. And in this report, like I said, it's business, a lot of business oriented information where we're telling them, okay, based off of what we found, you either have good or bad security, you are at risk or you are not at risk of being fined. You have, or like, here's our recommendations, here's a business impact, etc. And just giving like broad summaries on what a vulnerability does. Now, the technical aspect is actually showing this vulnerability in action. Let's say, again, you have a website and you're able to get admin privileges by like brute forcing a password. Well, that means, first off, they have bad password policy. So you have to tell them, okay, you have bad password policy that violates so-and-so compliance. Let's just say PCI DSS. You're not following, the password needs to be 7 characters long, needs to be complex with like an uppercase letter, some sort of special character, that sort of thing. And there's multiple compliances, but every vulnerability you must report, every vulnerability must be scored based off of like CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System. And those are all free online resources. And then after you show through pictures or a detailed explanation on how a vulnerability works for the IT team to go in and test it themselves, you generally give a recommendation on how to solve this. So this is where the blue team aspect comes into play with red team. We show them, we break into their systems, and then we show them how to fix it. It's showing them how to fix it is a whole blue team activity. So that just goes to show you how red and blue team interact in a situation. All right. Here we also mentioned that there's sample reports online. There are a lot of companies that have penetration reports published online. You can basically find ones for everyone. And I'll post these slides later so you can take a look through these links too on your own. So you can go look and maybe find you like Tesla on there, see like what vulnerabilities existed on Tesla that don't exist anymore. All right, I think I mentioned everything else that's here. Yeah. Okay. I guess this will be a good time to take questions real quick about the different phases. So let's see here. We got a question from Christopher. Do you create a file on the other system as well? It depends on what type of exploit that we're doing. So in post-exploitation, it could just be a simple thing as like logging in to another, just logging into another system. Or like if you're on Windows, you have TGT resources, which is like pass the hash, pass the ticket sort of deal, where you're taking a user's current password on a domain and then creating what's called a like golden ticket. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on what those mean, but you take their password, you create a new ticket from it, a ticket password, and you give it to another system, and it's valid because that user exists also on that domain. That's usually for like the domain admin or like like the domain admin. In that case, it still grants you access to that other system. That's just an example, at least with Windows. But there's also situations where you could SSH in and then you just like go from there, really. Is there any template for these reports? Yes and no. Everyone has their own style. When you look at the reports for CPTC, you can find those online too. We can provide a link to that. The reports generally don't look all that similar. Everyone has their own style. Even if you go onto this link, one of these links right here, you'll see that there's different styles, but there is a general format that is taken, at least with how everything is structured. It's simply like at the top you have your summary, or your executive summary, that summarizes everything that is in the report, but of course it's more business oriented. And then after that, you go into the actual information on what happened during the pen test. You tell them, okay, here's our scope, here is the compliances that we followed, here was our kill chain. A kill chain is like the record of what you broke into at what times. Like nmapped at 1 a.m. Got into XYZ softwares running on these ports at like 2:15 a.m. whatever. So that's you report those, you report pretty much everything, and then you go into the beef of it in the middle, which is the vulnerabilities. You give the vulnerabilities with a summary of the vulnerability, business impact, how to exploit it, like showing how to actually exploit it, and then the recommendations on how to fix it. And also in there, you can throw in compliances, like what compliances that vulnerability violates. And after all of that is done, you then go into basically concluding remarks, which is you again present to them the compliances that you followed. Like at the end, there's an appendix of definitions, stuff that you mentioned throughout. And again, just like a conclusion on what exactly, a conclusion on whether or not a company's security is good or not, and what it is they need to solve. That's the general format. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, if not, we talked about this yesterday, some resources, but we're going to be providing you guys a more centralized version here. So some of the resources that we recommend, or Ashley recommends too, is some conference talks. One is by Gabriella. I'm probably butchering this. Botable, Kelly, V, Philip, Wiley. And then we also have industry guidelines. These are like MITRE, OWASP, SANS. We mentioned OWASP, but like SANS is presents their own sort of like top 25 vulnerabilities, and MITRE is like their own pen testing methodology. It's a whole different framework. It's more expanded based off of what they've encountered. What we presented here was more of a broadband view of how everything works. Mater goes deeper into this. And there's also some blogs from like Bishop Fox again, and another one from Gabriella. And then we have some books. So everyone has access to O'Reilly, and O'Reilly on there you can find a whole bunch of security books if you want to. I can also provide you guys my giant library of security books. It's all online. I'll provide them. I think I may have already provided them in the resource tab on Discord, but I can provide that. And then we also have some video tutorials from Katie and Farah. I'm not too familiar with conference talks and video tutorials. That's all on Ashley, but I'm sure that these are all good. I recommend that you at least take a little look at these. All right, so more resources. You got yourself TCM Academy, and then Professor Sam Bound from CCSF. And then for practice, like we mentioned yesterday, there's Hack the Box. Hack the Box is very good. But of course, you need to know what you're doing first. Try Hack Me is more beginner friendly, and that's where I would suggest you guys go to practice on your own time. Hack the Box could be for later and when you're feeling a little more confident. There's also Portswigger Web Security Academy. That is a free web security course that you can take. It's from what I've heard from other people, it's very good. And then there's also CBTC, or competition, that provides us practice, and it's a good way to test your skills. And certifications, like we mentioned yesterday, OSCP for Red Team. OSCP is probably the best one you could possibly get for Red Team. And then there's other ones like SANS GAIAC, GPEN, GXPN, those sort of things. And if you're in our Discord, you see jobs and internships, that channel. Ashley is the one who posts all those opportunities, and these are the keywords that she uses to find those for us. All right, any questions? Okay. Again, you're more than welcome to DM me on Discord at any time if you have any questions. Other than that, I think we're good here. All right. I will send this presentation in the Discord. I will also send it in the Zoom, and I'm forgetting any other resources. All right, my library. I'll put that in resources also in the Discord. It's too big to put here. Okay. Thank you for listening. And I think up next is Danny with Metasploit.
All right, for sure. Let me open it up. Share screen. I think it's this. Okay, I see this.
Yes.
All right, copy. I'll send this in the chat. All right, here. Everyone. Paste. It's fine. Slideshow. Okay. Hello guys, my name is Danny, and I guess today I'll be presenting Metasploit and OWASP to you guys. Let's see. So what is OWASP? OWASP is a standard security protocol for developers and web applications. Back then when I first started out, I started out with OWASP, the 2017 version, and recently they made a change for 2021, and you can see the changes. I'm still not that familiar with 2021. I just did some quick research these past few days to try and explain to my best of my ability to you guys. Let's go on to the next one. Sorry, here we're starting out with the very first one, which is broken access control. So in this one, this just technically means that this is a type of vulnerability that a user outside can act outside of their intended permissions. A few examples will be metadata manipulation, API access, and viewing or editing someone else's account. The next one will be cryptographic failures, which is just in general protections of data in transit or whatever is compromised. So some examples for this one could be just like a data is in clear text, which means that's not like no one I guess no one hashed it, or older or weak cryptographic algorithms like MD5, which is a pretty weak algorithm, and there's no encryption enforced. So like I guess you could say plain text in the database, and etc. Next, we have injections, which an attacker can inject code into a command or query to access data without proper sanitation. So this could be XSS, SQL injection, and etc. After that will be insecure designs, which is well, mostly when you design, like I guess a product, most people build their product to be sure they will find a way to prevent most known attack methods. So I guess an example I found here from like the OWASP website will be a cinema chain allows a group of booking discounts, and it has a maximum of 15 attendees before requiring a deposit. So an attacker could make a threat model of this and test if they could book 600 seats in all cinemas at once in a few requests, causing a massive loss of income. So this is just like, I guess, not making, it's like writing code without having like some kind of testing or like a test just to be sure for, I guess, improper sanitation. Next, we have security misconfigurations, which I guess just like not using HTTP, not using HTTPS, which is a more secure version of HTTP, having default credentials and let's see. Next, we have vulnerable and outdated software, which is a software that is vulnerable, unsupported, or outdated, or end of life software. This could be a CVS, common vulnerabilities and exposures. So CVS are just like vulnerabilities that are just out there in the public that someone could use to exploit people. Like it's mostly used for research purposes, and people just use it for. In our case, and CPTC, we usually or like in competitions, we usually just go look at in our mmap scans. We just check if the software is outdated and see if there's any vulnerabilities out there that we could use to I guess exploit them. Finally, we have identification and authentication failures, which is just not having, like, I guess, good configurations when signing in. This could be brute forcing, weak passwords, or passwords are stored in plain text. I think a two-factor authentication is also an example if you don't have that enabled, which our school does. Finally, we have software and data integrity failures when when the identity of the app or data is not checked or verified and the process is not well-rounded. So I guess if an application relies on third-party software or like third-party sources that are untrusted, and I guess that could lead into a exploitation or vulnerability. And I think this one's a security logging and monitoring failures. This category is to help detect and escalate and respond to active breaches. Without logging and monitoring, breaches cannot be detected. Logs So I guess if security logs, like if someone could view security logs, that's actually pretty bad. And I guess I'm trying to think of one. Like snort, I guess. I think that's able to detect, I guess, any kind of exploitation happening to a system if you don't have that enabled. I guess that's like if it can't detect any active attack in real time, that's actually very bad. If you can't monitor attacks or just your logs can't log anything. And I think this is the last one, which is a server-side request forgery, CSRF. I guess CSRF flaws occurs when a vulnerable application is fetching a remote resource without validating the user's supplied URL. So in this case, an attacker, in this diagram, an attacker manipulates an original request. It gets sent to the server, and then the vulnerable application receives the manipulated request and processes it. And after that, the malicious request is executed by the application, and then the request is sent back to the attacker. And I guess this is where we go with a Metasploit. You guys could start running your VMs already. You guys could turn them on. This will most likely be the demo part of it. So what is Metasploit? Metasploit is an open source penetration testing framework that provides exploits for a variety of applications, operating systems, and platforms. So I guess to start Metasploit, go on your terminal and type in the command MSF console. And here we could use the command to search to look for a specific type of service we are looking for. So let's see. Let me see if I could.
And Danny, you're also going to need to show them how to install Yao's Docker container.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
I'll start doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. So share. All right then. This one, you guys could look at the slides if you guys want, but this is just an example. What is this? This is just a basic introduction. I think in the slides I have like you type in MSF. Oh, some of you guys might not be able to see this. So zoom in. Zoom in. Zoom in. I think that should be good. MSF. I think I have MSF console. Just press enter. This usually takes a while. I think if it's your first time doing it, it might take a while too. Let's see if I can have my slides open. Let's see, move this. Okay, you guys see my Kali, right? So I guess all right then. Let's see. Oh, it looks different. Oh, do you mean the design? This design? Oh yeah. The art is randomized. Yeah. So I think in the example, so this is a Metasploit. So right here you could search up exploits that are like in any type of service. So usually with this, we usually run Nmap. So let's say Nmap had like a version of FTP. So and then you're trying to search for like a specific version of FTP. So in this case, wait, can I put clear? All right. So search FTP. Press enter. It's going to give you a list of FTP vulnerabilities. So in this case, let's see. Clear. for our presentation, we're gonna use well, not right now. It's just practice how to get you guys familiar. But for like later on, I'm gonna provide a demo. We're gonna be using VSFtpd. I think that's what it's called. So you'll write the name of the service that you're looking for. In this case, we are searching for VSFtpd. And then after that, if you want to use the specific module, just type in use 0. And then you'll see the name of the module right here. Or I think you can just use and then just type in the full name of this. I think that should work, but I don't think it's check. Using, all right. You can just type that or just use 0. And then after, if you were to put exploit, I think it won't work. It says right here, one or more options fail to validate. And one of the options is our host. And to be able to show your options, just put show options. And this should pop out, which is, these are like the options, or these are like the requirements to make your module work. So right here, we just need a valid R host and the R port. Right now, since this is not the demo, I'm just showing you guys. We're not going to do this just yet, but let's see, clear. So options. And for example, let's just say the R host, that technically means a remote host. So that's the host that we're attacking. That's how I remembered it. So let's just say the R host was 1, 2, 3. It's just random numbers. It sets the R host. And then if you were to type options again, you'll see the R host is set. Or here the R port. You can change this if you want to, but it's not gonna matter. R port. This is the port in which the VSFtpd will be available. So set R port. I don't know. Let's just say it was opened in like in 67. Then we clear this options. So now we see that we changed it. And then after you have everything set, you just type in run. This is just because this is just an example, just show you guys. Or you could run exploit. And most of the time, if you have everything set correctly, this will usually work. But right now, this is just for practice. Right now, I'll get in the demo option. So here, so I'll open a new one. Sorry for the dogs.
What kind of dogs are they?
Oh, they're not mine. They're my neighbors.
Oh,
Yeah.
so annoying dogs. That's what.
Yeah, they have one too many. All right, then I guess in the slides, let's see what I have. Do you guys all have Docker installed? I guess that's the main question. No. So
For those that do not have Docker installed, we can create a breakout room real quick.
to have a Docker installed, you just do a Docker / I'll check if you have Docker installed. Just check Docker / version, and it'll just tell you the version of Docker. This is how you check this Docker -- version. I can type it right here. Docker / version. Oh, wait. That was sent to you. Copy, paste. You can check with that if you have it installed. No, I don't think so. Usually everything gets saved. Don't have it. Yeah, the commands that you output. So use the sudo app get update. This is usually asks for a password. Cali. This is gonna take a while, depending on your internet connection. And then I think what else do I have? So I guess sudo apt install docker io sudo apt. Let's see, what was it? Docker IO. This will vary depending how fast your internet connection is. We're using Docker to set up like a I guess like a box so you could use later on. Before we made you guys set up a NAT network, which was like kind of difficult for some people in the past. So we found like Docker seemed a lot easier to use this time around. Docker version. Docker version. Yeah. Here. Is everyone set and ready to go? Or... Oh no, we're just using Docker for now. You don't need a NAT network or nothing. All right. Yeah, it usually takes a while. So unable to fetch. Yeah, Gabriel, that might be a sudo app update. I'll just be sudo apt. For those who have Docker installed, you guys could try running this one-liner that I'm gonna paste in the chat. So right now I'll be going off from my slides, but I'm gonna be doing it like from my Calyx. So if you guys get stuck, just look at the slides. But everyone try running this one-liner that I have. See if it still works right here. Paste. Oh, just this one-liner just sets up Metasploitable 2 on port 8080 and port 8180. And then this should be something similar to this. You should have something similar to this. I'm not. So, open. That's that one. That's that. That's this. Take this off. That's that. Zoom in. Zoom in.
Yeah, to reiterate, we're using Docker containers for you guys to practice. We put flags inside of these Docker containers that you can submit on the CTF. And again, it's just to help you guys practice. So in this case, Metasploitable is a trusted VM that has been turned into a Docker container. Metasploitable, you can find it online, and it just has a bunch of Metasploit exploits that you can run and use. The Docker containers are essentially creating like an internal network on your computer. So if you do if config, you could see the Docker container itself.
Container. Is everyone set, or did the one-liner work? Did this work? It worked. The one-liner still doing its thing. It takes a while. Yeah. I'll send it again. It's the one-liner. All right. I guess for those who are who have the one-liner working at the moment. So if you were to check, like Ryan said, if config, you were to go up, it'll say the very first thing will be Docker, and this will be the, I guess, the subnet that we'll be scanning. So just run a quick nmap scan that you guys learned yesterday. Nmap, paste it, and then /24 while you guys are waiting. I'll still on this. And then you guys should get something similar to this. To scan the subnets, I think Matthias explained it yesterday. So it's used to scan like let's see, for example, this copy. So 172. So it's used to scan 192.17.2.3.4.5.6.7.8 all the way to I think I don't know what the exact number it is, but it scans from .1 to 255, I think. I'm not too sure. So that's how I like to think about it. There's probably like a more advanced way to like explain it, but in
And
simple
it's
terms,
scanning like possible ports. Is that what that is?
it scans the IPs, and then after that, it scans the ports of every IP if it's open or not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's like the simplest way I could explain it. It just does this. No, you don't have to. This is just, I guess if this was a competition, and then they're like, oh, we'll give you this IP, like the one on top. They just gave us this copy. And it doesn't even have to be one, I think. He just paste. So in competition, they give us an IP 172.17.0.0. And then there's gonna be, I guess, more IP ranges from this. So you just do /24. And then you just wait a while, and then you'll just get everything. You'll get 1, 2, because if you were just to do a regular one without the 24, you're just, oh wait, exit. .0 you'll get nothing. So you just nmap this single IP. How do you know when to use the number? It's I just usually they give us like they usually tell us if we're allowed to do /24 or not. It depends on the requirement too of the company that's asking. Is everyone set or not yet? Or could I continue? Still loading. For sure. Wait it out for a few more minutes. Map 172.17.0.1/24 for usable. Yeah, exactly, Chris. You just get the IP address of the Docker container. So the Docker container usually was going to be the one with like a lot of ports open. So in my case, it's .2. It's this one. Yeah. Yeah, Chris. So after that, so nmap, it's if you, I guess if you guys want to go further ahead, you could just do nmap 172.17.0. In my case, it's .2. This is where the Metasploitable 2 is located in this one. So just run an aggressive scan. If you guys already did it, the regular. And this one's gonna take a while.
How come on this scan, the one that we're doing the aggressive scan, how come we're not using the /24?
Because this is just a single IP scan. So we're just scanning this single IP.
Okay, got you. Okay, that one location, whereas the other one gives us multiple locations.
Exactly. Yes.
Got you. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And the aggressive scan might take a while. So I guess for the people who are like a little bit behind or like who are not in this part yet, you don't have to do the aggressive scan. You just see it from my end. But you guys could do it later if you guys want. But it's gonna take a while. I guess. How about the people who are still waiting for the Docker container to like download? Are you guys is it still downloading or is it setting up yet? Or that's fine. Let's see. Oh, I guess for the people who have it, I guess. Remove stale PID file. Check the file. Let's see. Stale. Sarah. Oh, that's a. I've never seen that error. Move down PID. Let's check the log output. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so this is, I guess, for the people who are done, I guess, if you just check nmap, so I guess on the one that have the Docker or Metasploit 2 up, usually when we scan the IP and once we get our I guess our simple scan first, usually we usually check the port numbers. So I guess since I do web vulnerabilities, like the main one I check is just port 80. And since port 80 is open, that means a web service is running on that one. So if you were to go like on, let's see, minimize this. If you were to go on the web browser, let's see. Well, this takes a while. If you were to go on the web browser and I think paste the IP address of the machine, you'll see this port 80. You guys could try it while we wait for the other people. Let's see. How are the other people still doing? The ones still trying to download?
Danny, and you said right now what you did was you put in that port or the ID for the machine, correct? That's what you did?
Yeah, yeah,
and
because
then The
yeah,
reason
because
you said that was because port 80 was open and that
yeah,
lets you know that something's running.
yeah. It also says right here, see, like port 80 is open and it's
Yeah, I'm
running.
looking at it on my side too. Yeah.
Yeah, HTTP, which is
Okay.
you'll able to see that's open. I think the most
Yeah, I got the same thing. Okay.
the most common ones for a web is port 80, 8080, and if I think Ryan could correct me if I'm right or wrong, but HTTPS is 443, right?
Yes.
All right, then yeah, 443. So in this case, only 80 is open. There's probably more, but like those are the ones that I usually check. There's 8081 open. We could check this one now if you guys want. There's no 443 right here. Go let's check this one. 8180. So I guess to check it, you just I guess copy, paste. And then to go to a specific port, just put colon and then the name of the port. So, or the number of the port. So just type in our case is 8180. You don't need this. And you'll see Apache Tomcat. These are the two things we'll be testing. Not this one. This is just a test if it's up or not, but this will be the one we're testing. This is the second demo.
I have a question.
For sure, Ryan. What's your question?
Why is Tomcat a website?
Honestly, that's a very good question. Isn't it? Isn't it just like a? Isn't it just host like a? Isn't it just a host? From my knowledge, I'm not honestly. I've never tried asking that question to myself. I just test it.
That's
I
okay.
just like,
So, I guess what I'm trying to get at is why is this website hosted on 8180.
8180.
Like, is it? I thought websites were only supposed to be on port 80.
Well, the websites, I think, I think like you said before, I think anything could be hosted on almost any web. Oh, damn, what did I do right now? On any website could be like, I guess you could say some websites could be hosted like in oh, how come it's not working? Can I not type? Oh,
It's a weird bug.
no, I think my machine might crash right now. Oh, I think it's just a bug. Never mind. I just do this again. It says, take this out. Oh no.
Interesting.
I can exit out this one. Let's go right here. Copy. Paste. 8180. Right then. Why is it crashing? 443? I don't know. Did it came up on the scan? Oh, mine? Like my, well, I have two Kali boxes. This is this is the one I got off from a site. This is like I guess that has very low RAM. So mine usually, like when I'm usually on this machine, this usually crashes. But when I'm on my laptop one that has like a Kali installed, that one that one took me a while to install because I didn't do it from like a pre-installed way. I think that the way that in the video that Ryan showed. So that one has like a lot more RAM. It could like host a lot more stuff. Yeah. So this one's just like this one I got from a website. So this one usually crashes on me most of the time.
Yeah, if you're having RAM issues, then I would up your RAM to like 4 gigabytes. I think the default is 2.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. And that may also be the case when you do brute forcing. Brute forcing does require a lot of memory
yeah,
processing
but
power.
if you were to try to upgrade the RAM right now, and like at this moment, you would have to need to restart your machine. So I guess don't do it like right now. I guess do it for like when Ryan does his workshop for brute forcing.
Yep. Or you could just go download RAM online for free.
All right, let's see. I'll repeat the steps for anyone who's behind. So at the moment, we ran this one-liner. I'll paste it again if anyone lost it. So we did that. After that, we went to, just go right here. No, this is Metasploit. Just go down. I don't want to do it right here. Zoom. After that, I think this should be good. If config, we got this one, Docker 0. So you will scan this nmap. Oh, it's cleared. Nmap. We'll do a regular one. This is the quick one. This usually gets results really quick. /24. And then we'll see, I guess, 2 services up. This one, .1, which is the one that we scanned. Or the one that appears right here when we type it in. It has 80 and 80, 80, 8180. And then we have the other one, which is host the box or Metasploitable, or yeah, Metasploitable too. I think that's what it's called. Then we see all these services open. And then I guess after this phase, you'll just run an aggressive scan nmap /a on the IP that has a bunch of ports open which will be this one in this case. Paste clipboard. And this one usually takes a while. You guys don't have to do this one. I'll have it up on my end. But let's see. Yeah, I have it up on my end. How's everyone doing?
I have a question. So when we do the aggressive scan on the second IP address that we get with all the other ports, we don't need the /24 on it.
No, because we're just attacking that single IP.
Okay, so the /24 is like searching a range of IPs, right? Is
Exactly.
what
Yes.
that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. That's nice. All right then. I guess I just go over the explanation one more time for those who are. So after you run this one-liner, just get this. You go to, was it this one that I showed the example? No. All the on are ignored states not shown. 1,000 close. Connection refused. All right. Let's see. I'll wait for this. Or for the people where you have the aggressive scan up, I guess. Let's go right here. So usually, when we do an nmap scan, it's I think Matthias and Josiah. They're the ones who like who start telling us. So we run like a, I guess for this example, /24, and say we found this box right here. So Matthias and I think Josiah will be the, or I think Josiah will be the one to tell us where to go look for. So since port 80 is open, Josiah will usually, I think he'll usually tell Yao. Josiah will try, will tell me or Yao to look at port 80. And I guess, I think this is, I'm not too sure. I'm not that familiar with Windows, but I think this seems to be like a, this is, I think this is something Ryan will look at along with Chris. The sequel, that will be a Yao's job or anything SQL related. Or ignore states, Gabriel, Con. Gabriel is a Docker up at the moment on your end. You make sure by doing if config, and is this up? All right. Oh, so that's up, right? And then you ran the one-liner, right? You ran this and you got, I guess, something similar to this. Yes. It's weird. Host if you're, but how do I make sure? Or in the not shown 1,000 con. Yes. Do I need to leave that up? And yeah, that's what you need to do. Oh, did you try running Nmapper? Could you run Nmapper here? I'm not even sure. Could you run Nmap? Copy. Well, it does. I didn't know that. All right, then. I guess I could assume everyone has it up, right? And sorry for the dogs. Okay, then. All right, then we'll continue on. Let's see. So I'm guessing you guys have, let's just clear this. Exit. I'll just exit out. And start this back up. NSF. Wait for that. Go right here. So I guess let's see. So we go to our aggressive scan. I guess the very first thing we notice is port 21, which is a FTP port, and we see the version number in most cases. So this will be our initial step to, I guess, just check every service to see if there's like a vulnerability or an exploit available. So what I usually did at the beginning, like when I first started out, I'll usually nmap, I guess, the IP address that Ryan, Josiah, or Yao will give me when I was training. And then I'll just like nmap it, and then I'll just see like a bunch of services. And what I'll usually do is just like just copy the version number of the service that was running. So in this case, I'll just copy this and just go on the web browser. This is the buggy one. Just go here and just go, I guess, on a web search, paste that version, and just write exploit, or yeah, just exploit. And in this case, we find, I guess, a backdoor command execution. And just click on that. And I guess it's this right here. This module exploits a malicious backdoor that was added to a VSFtpd download archive. This backdoor was introduced in 2.3.4. And if we to go back on the aggressive scan, so that's the exact same version that we have. Interesting. According to this backdoor is moved on, let's see. To display the show options, load the module within Metasploit console, which is what I have up. So I guess, oh, see, look, it's a rabbit this time. So in your case, just run MSF console. You'll probably have something similar, or not something similar, but you guys should just have this. And then go back to the web browser. So to run this gives you, like, I guess, just step by step. So what I usually do at the beginning, I just copy and paste it. So copy this, go to MSF6, paste, and then enter. No pattern. Okay, then go back to this. After this, what I did, because in the you just check the options like how I did before. So show Options. So right now, our host and our port, that's all it needs to run this exploit. So I think our host is the remote host. Before I just put random numbers because we weren't like exploiting nothing. So right now we're gonna try typing the R host. So the R host in our case is just the IP address which holds the FTP service. So if you were to go check our mmap scan, the IP address is in my case it's 172.17.0.2. So I just copy that. Go to the this just curious. So show options. My version says Apache 228. HTTP over here. Let's check. Apache on port 21 or yeah, because that's the my doesn't have a port 21. So did you nmap scan the one with doesn't have a port 22? Oh, that's weird. Yeah, running this on the third terminal. Oh wait, that's weird. MSF console. Yeah, so I'll just run it again. MSF to run it, just try MSF console. Hopefully this doesn't crash it. That's all you do. And it just takes a while to load up. Starting Metasploit will workshop. For the people who are up ahead, so it'll be show options. And then we set our host to the IP address that we're attacking. So in our case, our host will be the IP that has the FTP version. So FTP, so it'll be this. Copy. Paste. And now it's set. So our host is now set to this IP address that we inputted. And then we go options again and check our port. Is it on port 21? Go back to mmap scan and it is. And then if we were to go back right here. So since our port's already on 21, you could just run exploit. And then if you see right here, we're running as root and we had found the shell. So if you do, who am I? Root pwd. I don't know what's a uname. Linux sudo /l. Oh, sudo /l. Oh, so I guess you're in now. Yeah, I ran mine outside the container, still only shows 22. So only shows SSH. That's weird. So it didn't show FTP at all. It should have worked with the regular nmap scan. Yeah. Robert, did you try the regular Mmap scan and did port 21 showed? Or
Yeah, it actually did show, but when I go back and run the
aggressive scan?
aggressive scan, it only pops up 2280 and 8180. 21 doesn't come up.
And you did it on this IP address, right?
Oh no, on the .1. Mine's .1. Okay,
but-
gotcha.
You're supposed to run it on this one.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, my bad.
Okay, then. So I'll just repeat the steps again. Let's see. So after, let's see. Let's see. So we ran the aggressive scan on this one, the one that's hosting this website, Metasploitable 2. And let's go right here. Nope, things right here. We noticed that port 21 is open. And we see this specific version of FTP up. Now you just copy this. Go on your local web browser. Paste it, and then just type exploit. And there seems to be a backdoor. Just click on this, check on it. And then there seems to be a Metasploitable module, which is the one right here. So what I usually just do is copy all the way up to use. Copy. And then go on to a Metasploitable. I already have this up. I think there's another one. Oh, this one. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. And after that, just paste it. Use exploit Unix. And if you guys can't, like, I guess if the use command doesn't work, just search up search VSFtpd. And it should be the only one there. And then to use it, just use 0. All right. Let's clear this. Now we just check the options. And it says we only need the R host and the R port in this case. So the R host will just be the IP address of where it showed in the scan. So in my case, it was .2. This was the one in my case. I was running this version of FTP. And go back. That's not, is it this one? Yes, this one. So we set our host to this certain IP address. And then the R port is on port 21. This is default. I didn't do this, so this is default. So just to be sure if it's actually on port 21, we go back to our map scan. And it does seem to be on port 21. So go back right here, I think. Show options again, just to see if we have everything right. Yeah, everything seems to be right. And then after this, you could just run exploit, or you could just type in run. So in my case, I'll just type in run. Or the ports are used by backdoor. Oh, that's because I already have it up on this one. And then I'm in as root. Great for us. Vulnerability. There's, I guess, is everyone caught up now, or I guess anyone have? You just I guess you just do who am I after you get okay. Who am I? Oh, so you do who am I, and if it says root, that means you're inside the box. What would you do after run? after run. Oh, after run, I just clear this. After run, I just did who am I and check what user I am, and I'm root. And then can you go back to the R host part? Yeah. It's on the slides too, but so let's gotta clear this again. Clear. So first I did search and then VSFtpd. Oh wait, never mind. So the R host, so options. To set the R host, just type in the IP address, copy. My options haven't changed. And then after this, we just check if port 21 is open and we go back to the mmap scan. Check if it's actually there in port 21. It is. And then after that, we just run exploit or run. But mine, I already have it up. Yeah, see. I already have it up on my other terminal. Noah, can you tell me what's going on, or like what's happening on your end? Because I think the mmap isn't changing the options, so I don't see the R host or R port. Oh, it's not. We're on so we're on Metasploit. So to get on, I guess, to get on Metasploit, just do MSF console. Different one. Takes a while. All right then. So right, Noah, so you should be on your MSF. You're on your Metasploitable, right? All right then. So I'm pretty sure, did you search for it, right? So search V or, oh wait, what did I do right now? Let's take this off. Let's see. Let's change this again. Exit. Search is FTPD. Search Apache. Use 0, blah, blah, blah. So let's see. You just don't follow me here. All right, then. So you're on Metasploit. So search VSFtpd. Did you see this? Do you see this option? Oh, when you're on, yes. All right, then. So to use it, use 0. All right. Then after that, go on your check how to use this certain module. Just put show options. I already have mine set up, but I'll go back and redo the steps. Are you at this point of the process? Oh, the user. Oh, okay. And after that, we just configure our. We just configured it. Oh yeah, for sure. I guess I could explain it. So I guess it says right here, I guess to explain this. So let's see I think we can see the source code. So Metasploitable, I ran a script, which was this one. The backdoor command execution. This is the source code for it, I'm pretty sure. So for what we did at this point, so I was doing research on this, and supposedly, like it said right here, this backdoor, someone managed to change the source code of this version of FTP 2.3.4 between these 2 dates, June 30th and July 1st. And I guess the backdoor was just like when you sign in as a user, all you have to do is just add a smiley face. So this just have a smiley face as a user, and you don't need to have a password. This could be empty. Or you could just have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what it did, Metasploitable, what it did was just let's see, it just ran this script that it has saved on it. So if you want to look at the code, this is what it did. This right here. That's basically what it did. Just logged in as a root user.
Now, when we find the shell where it says root, what can we do from there?
Well, you're in as root user, so you can just do whatever you want as like administrator. You can
Oh,
probably
I
do-
got you, like the admin at, okay, got you.
Yeah, you're like you can basically do whatever you want. You're like you can just delete people from that. Let's let me check. Does this even have users? Or did I close it? Yes, it is. Nope, it's not here. It's not here. Is it this? I think it's this. Exploit. Just wait for this. Command shell. Oh, did it open? Who am I? I'm root. Let's see. Cat. I don't know. SWD. Let's see. Mine went offline. Oh, you want the one-liner again? So basically, as root, you can just do whatever you want, honestly, with the box. That's like more privilege escalating and just messing around with stuff. But you're not. How do you edit the R host? That's the one-liner. How to edit the R host? Let me just exit out here. So it's just to edit any of the options shown above. Just set R host, and then just put the IP. I just put dot. I don't think it's gonna accept that. Options. Honestly, most of the time when I run like people like who run Metasploitable, like half the time, like they're just usually scripts like on the web. Like I guess you could think Metasploitable like a huge selection of scripts that are placed, I guess, in this one thing called Metasploitable, and then you just run scripts from there. And half the time, I don't even know what half the scripts are doing. If you like actually want to know what the scripts are doing, you're gonna have to look at the source code of every one of them. So right here, this is the source code for how this works. And it's just I guess if you just it tells you right here like it's a backdoor command execution. Most of the time, like the source codes are like it's very complicated. Like half the time, like I don't even know what's going on. But that's why Metasploitable is there, just to make it easier. So you just in this case, oh, it's not this one. Set our host, and then just the IP address. But copy, paste, delete that. You have it, right? Exploit.
So does the terminal that has Docker or that we opened up Docker in there, does that have to be running the whole time we're doing all of these things?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
basically, yeah.
Okay.
Why? What do I say? Our host though, doesn't matter. Oh, our host will be the machine that we're targeting. In this case, it will be the one that has the FTP service or the one that's showing this website. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess you can think of Metasploitable, like I guess user friendly, like anyone, I guess script kiddie-ish kind of, because you don't know, like mine keeps saying use configured payload and then nothing happens when I try to run the exploit. CM. Explain, what do you mean nothing happens? Like this doesn't? It just opens a new command line. It just opens a new command line. Oh, did you type in oh wait, a new command line for like a new command line, but is it empty or is it, or like, can you explain? No. I keep saying use configured payload and then nothing happens when I try. Mhm. Hold on. All right then. I guess the last demo I have for you guys is just this Apache Tomcat. Because if you were to go on this site for the people, other people who are ahead, if you were to go like on, click on this link right here, Tomcat Administrator. This might take a while. Check that out. It's asking for username and password. Tomcat Manager, I think. Yeah, it's asking for username and password. And I guess in this example, we're just gonna be running some brute forcing, I guess brute forcing modules on Tomcat. Yep. So let's go back to our Metasploitable. You can just exit out of this shell. It don't matter. Here, just so you guys can see it clearly. So in this case, Metasploitable also has brute forcing modules in which you could use. So in our case, we're gonna search for some Tomcat ones. So just put search Tomcat, and you'll see just a bunch of them, like a bunch of modules that you can use to exploit Tomcat. And the specific one that we're gonna use in our case would be try to look for it. Enumeration, CGI, the login one. In my case, it's number 9. Might be different, or I think it might be the same. And like before, let's clear this. I think we're gonna, so use 9. And you should have a scanner HTTP Tomcat login. That should be the one. And now we're gonna do it how we did it for the FTP backdoor. It's I think it's different for everyone. If not, you could just oh, someone's in the picture. Oh, before Tomcat? I just exited out when we started using Tomcat. Oh, I cleared it. So let's see. Let's see. So I guess we were search VSFtpd user options. Let's see if I can get it back. Options. So I guess we were right here. I think we were in this. I was like this. All right, I was right here. So to get it out of the shell, just press exit or type in exit. Exit. We get out. So we're still on the FTP module. And then we just type in search Tomcat, which is what we're looking for. And then we notice like a bunch of modules, and the one we're specifically looking for is the one called the Tomcat login. This one. I'll copy and paste it in the chat. That's the one we're specifically using. In my case, it's number 9. So you could use 9, or you could just type in use and then the name of the module. And now we're using this module, which is just a brute forcer. And now we just show options, which seems to look like a bunch of options. Zoom out, just type in show options. Oh, it still looks kind of nasty. Zoom out. All right, then see what it wants. Brute force speed. It's at 5. It doesn't want no. So it requires a brute force speed. We'll just keep it at default, which is 5. You usually want to change this depending if there's like if you're going too fast when you're brute forcing, you might get like a ban from the website. But we're just gonna keep it at default. Our hosts, we just set our host to the host where we want to attack, which is the one that's hosting Tomcat.
Which one was your option? Sorry about that.
Huh?
Which option did you use?
For which one? To show
For your Tomcat. I know we had like 1 through 27 or something, right? And which one were you? The one that you were able to use?
number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah, that was mine.
Encoding information. Something. Okay. Auxiliary scanner HTTP Tomcat enumerator.
Yeah.
Enum? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is the one. And then let's see. So it requires brute force speed, default 5. Our host. So it requires an R host. Our host will just be the exact same one because it's hosting Tomcat. So just be this. Copy. It should be the same one as the one that's hosting the FTP one. So set our host. Brute force speed. Okay. What else does it require? It requires our port 8080. So default, it's I guess Tomcat's usually on 8080. But in our case, Tomcat's located on 8180. And if you're to go back on the Nmap scan, is it this one? Yeah. 8180. That's where Tomcat's hosted. So 8180. Just grab that. So set our port 8180. What else does it need? Stop guessing when credentials work for host. Just keep that on. What's this? Threads, number of concurrent threads. I'll just leave that default. And verbose. Print out output for all attempts. Yes, I just have that on. And after that, we just run exploit. And you'll just see a bunch of login. It's just a brute force there. This is the username, and then the password that's trying. And it says incorrect, 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 until you see a plus sign, which these are the credentials that it used Tomcat. And I guess to make it more interesting, you could put in a different username, or this is using a default Metasploitable word list. You could put your own custom word list, but we just kept it with default. And this is, I guess, it found like the username and password was Tomcat. If you were to go back and click on the administrator or like a manager, let's check administrator. Put Tomcat, and you're in. And I guess you're able to mess around with this. Probably add a user. Change the password. Save. And that's all. I think that's all I have for my presentation. I don't know if any of you guys have questions. Let's see. Stand-ups and clips, right? On the website. Is it this one? Yes. I like the steps. What steps? It's, I guess, to get to that website, you just type in so I think I explained this before, but I'll explain it again. So we noticed this IP that we scanned there, that we scanned with the aggressive scan. It has port 80 open, which is HTTP. So copy. And let's go again, paste. So we just enter. Since port 80 is open, there should be a web service up. So it was this. And then if you go back to our nmap scan, we'll notice that port 8180 is open and HTTP seems to be running. So website's up. So since the website's up, we go to 8180. And I think I explained this. If a website's up, all you have to go to a specific port, and in our case it's Tomcat, just put colon 8180, and then you just go directly to that website. And then if you to check Tomcat, I'm logged in right now, just log out. Log out. So Tomcat administrator and Tomcat manager, we noticed that these require passwords. So we're just gonna try out using default credentials from this module, which is the scanner Tomcat login. And then we just try all this on this. Let's try it again. Clear. And let's see, options. This requires brute force speed. We just kept that default. What else does it require? The R host, which is the website that's hosting, which is this one. And I got this from just going directly to the site, just copy and paste. Set R host. Then R port. R port. And the R port will just be the port that's on. And then in our case, it's on 8180. I think it's this one. No, it's this one. Paste. I think after that, those were the main things it needed. This was just these are just, we can leave these at default settings, and then we just run exploit. Did I do this correctly? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, what did I type? I think I did. All right then. Users. Brute force. I probably could with a custom payload. But these are just default. This is the default password list that it comes with. So these are like all the default passwords that Tomcat could come with. If I change it to something, I guess I could change it to something different. In this case, I'll try. I wonder if I'll guess it. Probably won't. It's this one. I didn't get it. This, I guess, admin manager, Tomcat secret, vagrant. Who uses vagrant as a password? It's weird. Yeah, pretty much it. I don't know. Ryan, do you? Or does anyone have any more questions? Or I'll probably go on a lunch break because I know this is kind of confusing. Change all passwords from vagrant to something else. I don't know, right?
Well, yeah, thank you, Danny, for the presentation. Does anyone have any last minute questions for Danny? And yes, Elizabeth, it is cool, but it is definitely a lot to digest. And that was the worry, at least with Metasploit and what we do. We just hope that we present this in a manner that is understandable by you and everyone else, because I'm sure none of you have had experience doing any of this. If there's ever any problems, any concerns, we will help you. And Danny, thank you for actually going through this with them multiple times, showing them how to do this properly.
So I have a question. So basically, what we're doing is we're using or Nmap and Metasploit to find like a way in, which was the backdoor in the file transfer protocol, and then we use Metasploit to find the default password essentially for Tomcat, which
Yes.
is running on the website, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly it. And what we did just now was part of that whole pen testing methodology. You did your reconnaissance or your discovery phase, Nmap. You found those ports. You documented what was there. You saw port 21 was open and said, okay, I'm going to go exploit this, exploiting through Metasploit. And then we were able to get a shell in as root. Same thing with with Tomcat. We have a repository called Secless. Secless is going to be used by Yao during his fuzzing workshop after lunch. So you'll get to see more of that. And that contains a whole range of word lists for websites, for passwords, and for different programs that are out there. Like Microsoft has their own website thing. I forgot what it's called, but they have different directory names that compared to other things. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was doing OSINT after lunch. Not, fuzzing's tomorrow.
Yeah, and then I think Ryan, you're also in charge of making our word list when it comes to competitions, no? You and Chris.
Yes, I'm in charge of making the word lists. So like I was mentioning earlier, with like the whole football example, I find what is common with the with whatever we're going into. For example, last year, CPTC, that was based around industrial control systems, specifically like dams, so hydropower. So I made an entire word list from all the dams that exist in the United States. I found every single dam, made a word list out of them through some scripts, and at the end I had like 10,000 passwords. It's a lot. And one of the more common word lists that we use is also RockU. We'll also be showing you guys that during our brute forcing workshop. I believe that's tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Nice. Yeah, RockU is very common.
Yeah, my bad if like it was kind of confusing, like explaining Metasploit to you guys. I remember I had to do this. I did the fall workshop and winter workshop. I think Josiah taught both of them. I think the very first time I learned, it was just like overwhelming. But I guess the second time around when I learned it again, it was like a little bit easier to understand.
Yep. Are there any more questions? All right, if not, thank you, Danny, for the presentation. Hopefully everyone understood what was taught today. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. For now, we're gonna go on our lunch break. We'll take like a 40-minute lunch break. We'll meet back at 12:40. Okay. All right, see you all at 12:40. Okay, up next is Yao. He's going to be presenting to us on OSINT. OSINT is part of the discovery phase of that methodology that we presented earlier, and it's a big part to what we do in pen testing. So without further ado, go ahead and take it away, Yao.
All right, thank you. You will see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. I will paste this Google slides that I'll be presenting. So I'll be presenting OSINT, and like Ryan says, you generally collect OSINT before the engagement. So here's what we'll be going over for this workshop. We'll go over what is OSINT, image searching, Google Dork, and people searching. So we'll first look at what is OSINT, and I'm sure that not many of you guys have heard of this phrase, but OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence. It's the collection and analysis of information gathered from publicly available sources. And like Ryan says, these are public, so it's not illegal in a sense. Not illegal in a sense, yeah. So here we can look at some example of OSINT. and OSINT does not necessarily have to be on the internet. It can be physical, like newspaper, magazines. And the second is the internet, which is a big part of OSINT. There we have government data and academic publishing and commercial data. And do you guys have any questions on what's OSINT? Now I'll move on to the first portion of the demo, image searching. And I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with image searching. So the first part of looking and analyzing an image is by looking at its metadata. So what metadata is, it's the data that provide information about other data. So it could be like the size of the image, or which camera it took, who's the author, right? And most importantly, it can contain the location of where the image is taken. And you can imagine that this is like a very sensitive data. So most social media platforms strips the image data when you upload the image. There are exceptions to these. And here I provided an online image metadata that you can view. So if I click on it, and you can either provide the URL of the image or upload the image. So I have an example here. Click on this link. So we're trying to find the location of this image, basically. And I'll have you guys try that out. So try to find the location of this image. Yeah, this is taken from a CTF as an example.
What CTF?
It's from like it's OSINT Village. It's Recon Village, this one.
Nice. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to figure this out.
Has anyone figured it out? Okay. All right. So let me show you how it's. When you put the image to the metadata view, you should get this. You get the coordinates. You can look it up on Google Maps. Not sure if I can see it. And this is the exact location that the image is taken. So did anyone get that part? Okay. You can move on to the next part. So the next part is reverse image search. I'm pretty sure you guys have done this a lot of times. And one of the tips for reverse image search is to crop out a unique feature, which can help you get the search result. And these are some good reverse image search engines. You have Google, Bing, TNI, and Yandex. And another tip is to look for text and signs that can give out the location of the image. And I've also have an example that you guys can try it out. So try to find the location of this building. I'll give you guys like 5 minutes. Did anyone figure it out? Oh, we're supposed to do a reverse image search of this location. Yeah. Like where this red building is located. What country is it? Do you guys know? Okay. Do you know this? Yeah. Dennis got it. So there's two ways to find out the location. If you zoom in enough, you can see the building behind it, the name. It says English National Ballet. And it's this building and the red building behind it. And if you look at the street view, well, the building is still constructing, but this is the building on left. Do you guys get this way of finding the building? Okay. So the next way is reverse image search. So for this one, I'll be using Yandex. So I just paste the link. So I guess as you can see, it kind of shows some similar results. But what you can do is you can crop the image. So I'm looking for specifically the red building. And this kind of looks similar to it. But it's just like the view is like slightly next to it. And you can see it's a Linden City Island. So I can search this. And it comes to the exact building that's next to the ballot. So do you guys get this? Get this method? So to recap, there's two ways to find the location of this image. First, you can look around to see if there's any name on the building, which the one shows. Then another way is by simply reverse image search. So yeah, do you guys have any questions? Now we can move on to the next slide. So I provided a website kind of for Bellingcat. So what this website does is it has investigative journalism that specializes in OSINT. So I've also linked an article here. So I think this is pretty interesting. They use this satellite imagery and pictures from Facebook. And they're essentially asking is Ethiopia flying Iranian-made armed drones? And if you're interested, there's also like other articles. And you can see that they provide explanation of the imagery and how they analyze it. Yeah, it's just something that you can look into more if you're interested in OSINT. So the next big part is Google Dork. I'm not sure if many of you guys heard this. You can do advanced searches with Google. So here's how you do it. You can provide advanced operators. So here are some of the operators. If you put quotation around the word, you're looking for the exact match of the word. And it will filter out results that does not contain the exact match of the word. And same thing with the site. You're looking for a specific site, maybe Facebook or YouTube. And in title, you're looking for a specific page title. In URL, specific URL. Yeah, this is for Google, a search engine. Google Dork is like an advanced search basically of Google. If that makes sense. And you have file type. You're searching for a specific file type like PDF or text files. And I will give you guys some examples. So you have, if you try to find some public usernames, you can try in-text username, and you're basically looking for log files. So we can try that out. You can see that I'm trying to. Okay, so you look at this, it gives us a email. These are just log files. And you just put this query in the search. You can look around and you can kind of find some usernames. So if you want to specify more, you can. You're looking for like a in URL, maybe the company website, or you want to find someone else's name. You can put some name in here to find the exact match. And you can also find password with this. Let's see. So this password is admin. That's from GitHub. Interesting. Seems like this password is pretty long. Found a password. So what else we can find? We can also find FTP services. I think from last workshop, then you covered the FTP exploit. You can also find this. So what FTP basically is it hosts files on the web. Let me see this. And these are not necessarily should be available like publicly. You may have sensitive data in them. And then lastly, you can also find public cameras or webcams that is not configured to be private. So yeah. So you can see many of these are just IP without the domain name. This one's interesting.
So those are just cameras that are like unsecured or something that we can get to, or those just
Yeah,
yeah,
they're like
gotcha.
that are public.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you can see webcams on like bridges or buildings. You know, they're not necessarily like dangerous. You know, like street cameras maybe. They're not configured properly, so they're just exposed in the public. Yeah. So I have exercise for you guys. Probably gives like a few minutes to find any password from this student health. Sure. guys can also reference to the slides. Where do you find that, Austin? Is it on the website? Interesting. Were you guys able to find any passwords? Have you guys found this website? That's a lot of 1 stars. Have you guys found any passwords? Okay. So if you look back at the operator site, we can try to use in-text or match the exact word. So I can try quotation mark password. Still nothing. There's also nothing. So looking at the examples, I might try the 3rd example. 3v_password. So nothing. So let's try in-text. Okay. So this is the query. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. I'm guessing putting student health is too specific. So I just specify the exact match of this. And I just copy the third query. Just get password and username. Do you guys get that part? It's kind of just guessing game. It's a lot of trial and errors.
What's E and V stand for?
It usually stands for environment variables.
Okay.
It's a file that contains. You see how these are variables, right?
Got you.
They don't really include it in the main file, so they have a separate file for the credentials. And it seems like they publicly exposed this file. And that's it for the demo. So if I go to the next part, I want to mention that while finding these password usernames is legal, right? But if you try to log in, right, the database, that's not really legal, right? Because you don't have the permission to log in, basically. And any data that you see in there, it could be used to exploit, right? So that's basically the line of OSINT. So the next part is people searching. So before we begin that part, I need to put out a warning, right? An ethical disclaimer. So just don't use this information to do doxing or stalking, and just respect people's privacy. That's all I ask. All right. So I only have links for you guys. These are username search. What it means is that when you use a username in one social media, it's almost likely to find the same username in other social media. So you want to use these to check. I type in a random username, right? It tell you whether the username exists in a site or not. And you can look around and find more information like that on that person. There's a GitHub tool, but we're not using this as yet. This is just an intro. So the next part is addresses and phone number search. I think some of you guys have heard of these websites that contain information about someone's address or their phone number. I think on the CTF that we host, you're able to find Ryan's address. And you might wonder where do like companies get these kind of informations? They're kind of from public sources, right? Like if you register a cell phone number and the company has policies, private policies that may, if you don't read them carefully, they may think that you give them the permission to kind of show these phone number publicly. So What's that? There's 3 links, the most common search. And just like any tool, right? You can use it correctly or you can misuse it, right? In this case, there's a community called Trace Labs. Again, what they mainly do is finding missing people with OSINT. Right? They've helped a lot of cases with the law enforcement, and I got a couple articles about them, and they're basically like a CTF, right? So what you can do is, if you want to, if your, I don't know, your friends or family is missing, you can reach out to them, right? They will make a CTF. You try to give like as much information about that person, and there's like hackers that try to get OSINTs and maybe try to find that person. There's like different categories. They can earn points. And if you watch the video, you will learn more about it. So that's that. And then that's all I have for OSINT. Just let me know if you guys have any questions. All right. All right. Thank you guys for listening and participating. Yeah, it's kind of a lot with Metasploit.
All right, thank you, Yao. Thank you for that presentation. Really appreciate it. Right now, that concludes the presentations for today. Now, this is where we usually dedicate time to answer questions and to also give all of you some time to do the CTF. Now, I think Yao put up a couple more OSINT questions, and I think Danny may have put up some Metasploit questions. So those are up and ready to be claimed. Now, again, we'll be dedicating the rest of this time all the way up until 2 p.m. to just do the CTF, answer any questions you have. No, you cannot ask what is the flag. We cannot give you that. So sorry about that. Yeah, other than that, if you don't want to stick around, you're more than welcome to go. And if you do go, thank you for showing up. Sound good to everyone? The time limit, there technically is no time limit. We will close the CTF next Wednesday, I believe. So on like early Wednesday, we're going to completely close it down. At that point, we will be having the practical, and we'll get more into the practical later. Yeah, thank you, Sebastian.